Catherine. My goodness, that was wonderful. I love listening to the announcements. It's great to know all the things that are going on. And how great it is to have this opportunity to be in each other's company again, albeit virtually. And thank goodness for virtually being able to stay in touch. Now, I know that everything seems to be becoming a little bit tedious for many right now with the way things are, but this is the very time when we must knuckle under and not fall under that feeling that seems to crop up from time to time in each and every one of us. Now and in the now, be as best as we can be, our good selves, our great selves, our energetic selves. And every single day, you and I have a choice to make. We're always at choice. And it is, today, do I choose faith or do I choose fear? Do I choose fear or do I choose faith? Well, I'm knowing we're all choosing faith. And the thing about faith is you never need it until such are these times. Then you know whether you have it or you haven't it. And then you quickly develop it, I'm sure. So here's where we are right now. And there's a great deal of good going on in the world, too. And we must keep our eye on that prize. Lots of good going on in the world. Lots of great good things happening. And we are to be part of the good that is happening. That's our calling. That's why we're here. We are here to honor presence and nurture spirit and enrich the life of all we serve. And we're here to do that by creating a better world for everybody, a world that works for all, a world that doesn't leave anybody out. And so ample opportunity for that to happen right now, and we're all seeing it everywhere. Little children finding ways to do good. From little children on up, good is happening all over, and that's what we must keep our eye on the prize. And so right now, just let us center ourselves. I always like to say, center ourselves in the awareness of that which is greater than we are. And remember, we're not alone. And when I say not alone, I just mean not alone in physicality. We're never alone. We're always accompanied. And we're accompanied because omni-essence is right where we are. And it never leaves us and never changes, no matter what. And now is the time for us to lean more fully into that awareness and to deepen ourselves in the sense of that awareness and to rely upon that awareness. So let's know this with me. And what I know each and every one of us knows, because there's one mind. That mind is whole mind. That mind is God mind. That mind is perfect. And that mind is my mind, your mind now. So let's connect with it. And let us bring our energy up. And let spirit by means of you and spirit by means of me know itself by means of you and by means of me. And to know oneself as spirit does is to be free of everything that is in the outside world and everything that is in physicality. So join me now in knowing. So I would invite us all just to take deep breaths. It's such a gift to breathe deeply. And so let's do that. And as we do, let's know that we're breathing in the life force of omni-essence itself. It's the fullness within us, and it's the fullness all around us and all about us, above us and below us, everywhere present. It is everything, and it is everyone. And our only task is to remember that, to wake up into that awareness of that consciousness. That right where I am, omni-essence is. And where omni-essence is, all is well. And I just settle myself down as I relax the body, as I let go of the tightness, as I let go of the condensed, contracted energy. And I breathe it out, and I allow myself to loosen up, free myself from every single thought that would concern me. But just to focus on omni-essence, the light, the radiance of being, that cosmic energy that is wafting through everything, moving through everything, living in everything, right now, right here, exactly as I am and life is. I am no nearer to the presence in the future than I am to the presence now, because its fullness is always with me. Its fullness is always mine, and its fullness is always available to me. And so this is what I'm knowing right here and right now. I am so ready and so receptive and so open to allowing myself to be free, to allowing the freedom of the great self of me to move through the physical self of me and lighten its being. Lighten its being. And I vision now that light that I am. I am that omni-essence, that radiance, that life force, that energy of power. They allow myself to become so light that I become formless, faceless, and just merge with the cosmos and beyond, which is light and force and energy, which is harmony and unity and oneness, which is peace and love. And love is the essence of it all. Love is the radiance. Love is the light. Love is the omni-essence. And everything else flows out of that. The peace. The joy. The power. The presence in the moment. And I just breathe in that wholeness. I breathe in that fullness. I breathe in that completeness as I allow myself to get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And just simply be in quietness and listening and perceiving all of life, all of it, perceiving all of creation as one thing, one flow of life, omniscient energy. And it's mine to know, it's mine to be, it's mine to experience. And all I have to do to be a very real and present presence is to know this, to feel this, to allow its peace to saturate me, to fill me, to breathe me. And I feel that expansiveness, the expansiveness of the I am. that I am. And because I am, I can be all and do all things in the omniscience that strengthens me, fortifies me, centers me in the awareness of wellness, fullness, completeness. And in this cosmic state of being, I allow myself in this state to perceive the materialness in all of creation, to see the omniscience in form in all of its myriad of ways, in far-off galaxies, in all of the planetary systems, in all of the cosmos. There I am. I hone in on the blue and green jeweled earth. And there it is, in all of its glory, in all of its omniscience, in all of its light beingness. Every aspect of it aglow with the cosmic light and life and love of the One, within it, upon it, around it, and about it. Billowing out from it those cosmic rays of life and light and love, saturating all that it is in omniscience, purifying everything, integrating everything, unifying everything, centering everything in the awareness of that which is whole and complete, that which is its own divine idea, the perfection of being. And I feel its peace. I allow myself to feel its peace, to glow in its light, to feel its love, and to know it for the living thing that it is, the emanation of Spirit itself, Spirit's own idea of itself in earth form, and everything on it and in it and around it and about it. And from this pulsating point of light that I am, and all the myriads of other pulsating lights of Spirit that each is, I see waves and waves and waves of cosmic energy omniscience flooding out of each portal, moving, mingling and mixing with planet Earth's light. And the charge of it is amazing. It expands all that planet Earth is in all of its glory and magnificence. For each portal of light is the pulse in the One, is the beat in the One, is the breath in the One. This is oneness. This is unity. This is wholeness. completeness, peace and goodwill. Life is godly. Life is good. Life is very good in all of its forms. In all of its forms, in every aspect, life is good and very good. This is how Spirit perceives it. And this is how I am when I'm at one with Spirit, having the same perception. And all I have to do to be a life force being is simply to know, feel omniscience, 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 and nothing else. For omniscience responds to recognition, identification, and declaration. So the blessing and the knowing is established, and life on planet Earth and throughout all of creation is changing as a result, is becoming more of itself as a result, is emanating more of its light force as a result. Much awakening happening, much good manifesting, and all is well. So in this state of awareness, I don't have to use any words, none whatsoever. I just feel and sense and know. And now I'm allowing myself to come back into form, into three-dimensional being, getting comfortable again in my body. And from this state of awareness as a three-dimensional being, I can bless and use words. So I bless every blessed thing, all of creation and all therein. And I'm knowing the highest and the most wondrous unfolding good for each emanation of Spirit's life on this plane. Good and only good. And this I send from the three-dimensional plane out into the cosmos as a blessing, bearing light, bearing life, bearing peace, and bearing love. The greatest power of all, love. The greatest healer of all, love. The greatest answer to everything, love. I know I'm heard and responded to. And so in faith and thanksgiving, I say, and so it is, and so indeed it is. And so, my dear ones, here we are, back in the three-dimensional reference of frame. And I'm knowing all is going well with each and every one of you, no matter what it seems to be. We will have our moments, we'll be in and out of all kinds of energy levels, but always we will come back to center as soon as we wake up and realize this is not how I have to be, and this is not how I have to feel, and this is not how I have to think. I'm always at choice. So now I want to share with you some of the things that I have been really, pondering this week and last week too, maybe the week before. But it's the basic rudiment and fundamental principle of what metaphysics is and what life is like on the spiritual side. And I have this wonderful book here. It's Neville's The Power of Awareness. And I mean, every word is a gem. I think it's out of print at the moment, but I'm sure somebody will bring it back into print again. And the piece I'm going to share with you is from his chapter on essentials, and all of his chapters are very short. But what he's doing is he's laying claim to what the three most important things are for you and for me to know if we want to manifest for ourselves a whole life, a full life, a fulfilling life, a life that is a life of service in the best possible way. Because I'll remind us all again, we're not here to get anything. We have been given everything. We're here to give everything. Not to get anything, but to give everything. Because we are the representation of spirit in material form. And spirit's nature and essence is to give and to give and to give and to give and to give. So your happiness and my happiness comes from you knowing this and me knowing this and then being it, the givingness of life to itself. So he says here, first and above all, yearning, longing, intense burning desire is what we must develop. We must, with all our hearts, want to be different from what we are. Intense burning desire combined with intention to make good is the mainspring of action, the beginning of all successful ventures. In every green pasture which achieves its objective, which is desire, is concentrated and intended. You must first desire and then intend to succeed. Now that brings us into awareness. We have to have a potency and a force behind the good that we desire. And it must be something that we're committed to until it happens. That's the kind of intensity we have to keep up. And then he reminds us, as the deer yearns for the springs of living water, so does my soul yearn for you, my Lord. That's the kind of desire we're talking about. And then he says, blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled, which is from the Beatitudes, Jesus' Beatitudes. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst. And he's not talking about physical hunger and thirst here. It's what we have to get used to when we're understanding more deeply and fully the scriptures. He's talking about that yearning desire to know and be the truth of who and what we are, to know God. To know God. And since that's the case, it must be possible, or we wouldn't be built this way, made this way. And then he says, here the soul is interpreted as the sum total of all you believe, think, feel, accept as true. That's what the soul is. In other words, your present level of awareness. Your present level of awareness is where your soul is at the moment. You present this level of awareness that longs to transcend itself in contemplation. It's something to really embody and know. We've heard this before, but we've got to get on the inside of it, and especially now. He says that kind of yearning is like, Keats' poem called The Nightingale. My heart aches and a drowsy numbness pains my senses, as though of hemlock I have drunk or emptied some dull opiate to the drain. And he's not talking about drugs or anything else. He's talking about this intensity, this deep desire as he is verging on that breakthrough into knowing more of himself as his true self. And we get there very, very often without even knowing we're there. Then he says the second thing to do, that first thing is desire, awareness. Cultivate physical immobility, a physical incapacity not unlike the state described by Keats. It is a state akin to sleep. And then he says, then you are naturally disposed to enter the inner state of being. The value of physical immobility shows itself in the accumulation of mental force, which is absolute stillness that comes with this state of being. It increases your power of concentration, and that's why it is written, be still and know that I am God. In fact, the greater energies of the mind seldom break forth save when the body is stilled and the door of the senses closes to the objective world. So many of us have a hard time being still. I experience this all the time in groups. Even when the invitation is extended, people are still fidgeting or looking around or whatever it is, because people think they cannot do this. Some people do. But everybody can. How is it that everybody can? Well, I am. Therefore I can, because I am. No, but then you have to believe that, don't you? You have to truly believe that. So the stillness is so, so very important, he says. You must gain it in imagination first, for imagination is the very door to the reality of that which you seek. But use imagination masterfully and not as an onlooker thinking of the end, but as a partaker thinking from the end. That's probably the most important line I'm going to read today. And I sometimes will stumble over words because it's marked over so many times I can't make out the words. But I have X's and all kinds of things on this. I'll read it again. But use imagination masterfully and not as an onlooker thinking of the end, but as a partaker thinking from the end. Assuming the feeling of the desire already achieved. So he says we have to surrender ourselves completely to this feeling until the whole being is possessed by it. This state differs from reverie in this respect. It is the result of a controlled imagination and a steadied concentration that is attention, whereas reverie is the result of uncontrolled imagination. So that's most important, to be able to imagine and assume the situation the way you want the situation to be, and then think as a partaker in it and from it, and not as somebody looking to it to achieve it. And then he says, I think there's a third thing too, yes. The third and last thing is to experience in your imagination what you would experience in reality had you already achieved your goal. You must gain it in imagination first, for imagination is the very door to the reality of that which you seek. And you know, It's just got to be done, my dears. It's no use thinking about it, reading about it, hearing about it. Got to sit down and start out on it. He says the application of these 3 points may be summed up in 1, desire, awareness; 2, physical immobility, stillness, quietude; and 3, the assumption of the wish already fulfilled. If you and I can master these 3 pointers, then you and I can, no matter what happens in our life, we can respond in a sovereign way instead of at the level of victimhood, no matter how weak or strong that victimhood might feel. If we can have that true and deep desire in our hearts to truly, truly know the self of ourselves that's going to set us free. Because what we're talking about is not up there, over there, out there, anywhere else except right here. It's not a physical thing. We're not going to find it under a tree or in a river or in a building. We're going to find it in the tabernacle of our own hearts, which we are told. And we are told to remember that you are the temple of the Most High, that you house the divine, omniscience itself, which is omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence. There's nothing more to gain. That's why we're not here to get anything, because we have everything already given to us. But we're here to free it so that we can let it out in service to others who are in the process of beginning their awakening. And that's where we are. And that's where the world is now. And that's why all of this stuff is happening, so that we can have a deep, deep desire for something other than we already are experiencing, so that we can get through to the inner sanctum, the true sanctuary that each one of us has. Because no matter how much we seek sanctuary out there, it's only going to last for a little bit. So we have to find the sanctuary in here that lasts forever. And you can. Yes, no matter how you're feeling, thinking, and what your life has been, you can. Because your life is now. It's this moment. It's nowhere else. It's not in the past. It's not in the future. It's here and it's now. So we must know who we are. We must know what we're thinking. We must know what we're feeling. We must know what we're doing and being in order to make this breakthrough. And see, it's going to be challenging very much for beginners who are not used to being still and being quiet. I'm not even going to use the word meditate, but those of us who are not used to being still or being quiet. And if we want to learn how to break through into the great self of ourselves, we practice being still. For no good reason, just be still, sit and be still. Start there. For a minute or two. Joel Goldsmith says that throughout our day we need to stay in touch with our source, with the omniscience of our being. And he says that can just be a minute or two. He says certainly 3 times a day we at least need to tune in, morning, maybe midday, and evening. And he said, preferably a half an hour each time would be great, but he says, don't worry about that. Start with a couple of minutes, or a minute here and a minute there and a minute all over the place. And stay tuned in throughout the day. All you have to say to yourself is omnipresence. And you know you're in the presence of Spirit, and Spirit's presence is in you, and you don't have to ask for anything. Why would you have to ask of energy that you already are? Omnipresence, just the knowing that God is enough to clear you of whatever it is you want to be cleared of. And me too, it's difficult. Well, I've found it difficult, and I have to keep on top of it, or I soon get caught up in the machinations and the miasma of everything that's happening all around and about me. So I have to pull myself back. I have to plug in again. Become unplugged, so I plug back in again. And so must you. So we all have our ups and our downs. Don't think that any one person has attained this and is still here. Some attain it more than others, but we're all in and out of it until we ascend into a different state of being. But while we're on three-dimensional planet Earth, we're all keeping centered as best we can to know what we could know, to feel what we can feel, to be what we are in truth, the goodness and the best of ourselves. And it's not done by worry and anxiety and fear and judgment and assessment and comparing and contrasting and dialoguing and arguing and so on. It's not done like that. It cannot be done like that. It can't be achieved like that. It's achieved by being poised at center, in peace, calm, not perturbed or disturbed by the good or the not so good, but staying level and even, and know that life changes on planet Earth all the time. And what's good now may not be good in 10 minutes' time, etc. But you're okay with it. You go with the flow of it. You trust the process. You trust your creative process in your life to take you where you need to go. And remember, always send this energy, this power, and this force from your centered being, from your core, to go before you and prepare the way for you to move from blessing to blessing and good to good and grace to grace. And trust that it will. I go before you always, says the scripture. Come, follow me, and I will give you peace. I will give you rest. Fear not, for I am with you as I've always been, and I shall always be with you in the good, in the bad, in the ugly, in the beauteous, wherever it is you want to call it on planet Earth. I'm there. I'm still there. I didn't go anywhere. Your mind went somewhere else, though. That's the only difference. We have to draw our mind back to center, back to center, back to center. I know we're all doing a great, good job at it too, no matter what, in spite of our small selves at times. I know we're all in the endeavor. We all have the intensity. We all have the desire. We all are endeavoring more and more to assume the feeling of the good desire fulfilled already, and to think from that, and to feel from that, and to live from that, and to act from that. That's it in a nutshell. There's nothing more for you and for me to know. And the burden is, and it is a burden, the burden is that that responsibility is yours and yours alone. Nobody else can do it for you. Nobody else, even if they wanted to, could. You're the only one that can do this for you, and you were equipped, you were made out of the magnificence of spirit, and this is something you can do because you're it already. I am that I am, emphatically so. So have a good day today. Make it the best day ever, and that every day is our endeavor. To make this my best day ever, come what may. Because it doesn't matter what comes, it's how I respond to what comes makes it a good or not so good day. So I'm knowing for you a great good day. I'm knowing for you throughout the day a stillness and a quietness and a moment's repose in spirit, a moment's stopping for a breath of life to fill you, just to know that you're not in it alone, by yourself. Spirit is a very real and present presence, and a very real and present help. And as your mother used to say, as mine did, remember, child, God helps those who help themselves. It's true. Now, the power is yours. The strength is yours. What are you going to do with it is the question. It doesn't matter what you did with it until now. What you're doing with it now is all that matters. And again, I will stress that to be purposeful, we must be present in the now moment so that we can live our very best life, have the best thoughts, the best feelings, and the best results from who we are, what we are, how we are, and what we do. So have a great good day, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody who's joined up for class tonight. I really am. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm knowing we're going to make this journey into these 3 principles deeper than ever we have before. And it's good where 2 or 3 are gathered, because the power is increased and Spirit shows up as a very real presence. So if you haven't thought about that and you'd like to join us, there's still time to join. You can join for 1 lesson or 2 lessons or any lesson. But if you really want to benefit fully from it, you'll take all 8 lessons and do the homework. Because as I tell my students, class begins when our time together ends. And it's ending next week when we meet together again. So know that you're loved, know that you're cherished, know that you're prayed up, know that we're here for you. We're here for you every possible way we can be here for you. I mean, we are honored to be part of this community of great good people wanting a better world that works for everybody, wanting to honor presence, nurture spirit, and enrich the life of all we serve. Please stay connected in every which way. And if you don't know how to handle the computer and so on, call in. We'll get you the help you need in order to be able to join the Zoom calls. You can join them on your Apple phone, or you can join them on your iPad, your computer, and so on. We'd love to be in your company, and we love it when we're in your presence. So blessings be upon us all. And we'll end the way we always do. We always celebrate our fullness by sharing. And I love this part of every time we get together, when we can actually make a difference in this way, and a big difference in this way. I know everybody is being measured right now with regard to, how they manage finances and so on. But I'm always, always delighted to think that my first giving in financial concerns is to support the legacy of the center, the work of the center, and the people in the center. For if those of us who can don't, then how can we maintain the legacy for future generations? But again, we're all about service. We're here to serve. And give us every opportunity to do that. And we don't just serve this community, we serve the wider community too. And thank you for all your good deeds, and thank you for all your good thoughts, and thank you for all your good feelings. That's making a huge difference in our world. So we take our gift between our blessing hands and we say, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is, and so you are. You are amazing. So amaze yourself today. Loved being with you. Love you lots. Take care. And as my little grand niece Isla would leave everybody, see you later. Take care.